Welcome back, or hello if you are new. I am going to tell you 6 reasons why I always sketch with a pen and why I think you should try it too. And while I do that, I'm going to be doing some loose sketches of Sky Kids from Sky Children of the Light. I think they're fun to draw, and I'm just using Google Images as references and just kind of doing quick studies of them. The first reason, so reason number 1, is it trains your brain to recognize shapes faster. The big shapes that make up an object, it helps you break them down. So if you see a Sky Kid, you might see a circle and then a triangle first. So because you've got the head and the cape, two very distinguishable shapes, I would argue that the Sky Kid's overall shape is a big triangle. It makes it easier to understand proportions, how big things need to be and where things need to go, and helps you plan ahead for your paper. To think, how far is this going to extend? How big of a space am I going to need? Instead of working from little detail to little detail, if you can think about it with the big picture in mind. If you can break objects down into their basic big shapes, they become more readable in drawings, and you can use that to convey emotions and moods with your character design too. These lines, you don't get to go back and erase them. You get to do one stroke and another stroke. You're thinking about it more, you're concentrating more, you're really paying attention to those shapes and where the lines need to go, and your hand gets used to it after a time. You no longer feel the need to erase because you get it right the first time. Which brings me to confidence. When you can't erase, you become more confident in your strokes over time. You have to be. There's no going back with ink. When you put ink down on the page, unless you're going to paint over it, but when you put a pen mark down, you have to be happy with it. So sometimes you'll have to turn it into something. If you don't like it, you can add something creatively to it. Take some creative liberties with your drawing, because you'll have to work it in somehow. But more than likely, if you're sketching with pen for a long extended period of time, and I'm talking about practicing for months or years with it, just having a sketchbook and a pen with you and doing your artist thing, you will feel more confident in the shapes that you're making, because you'll see the big shapes and you'll be able to break them down into smaller shapes a lot easier without needing to erase or go back. As you improve, your artwork will actually become a lot looser, a lot less stiff. When I was first starting out sketching, all of my art was really stiff and rigid looking, and I took on sketching with a pen on a vacation several years ago, and it just really helps loosen up. I really like the look of loose, sketchy art, so maybe I'm just biased, but being able to sketch with a pen, it just makes things look so much more fluid, more squishy. I don't know, it just helps capture movement better, in my opinion. It's like you're less worried about exactly where things go. It kind of crushes perfectionism. It allows things to develop organically. I have always had a really hard time drawing humans and anything human shaped. I've always leaned towards animals, but I found that I can draw humans traditionally way better than I can draw them digitally. It's like I have too many options, and I'm trying to draw people with digital, and I can go back, and I'm so concerned about making it look just right, and I think it's ugly, and I think it doesn't look good, and I want to keep editing, and I'll spend 8 hours sketching a human face because I'm never happy with it. But when I'm doing it with a pen on paper, and I can't go back, I have to just kind of take what I get, I find that I'm so much more happy with the final result, and I don't spend nearly as much time. I might spend 30 minutes sketching something, and I'll love it. Whereas that, I never would have been able to do it with digital. But I can't say that for everything. I love drawing animals in digital art. I love doing environments in digital art. But There's something about traditional that just helps loosen up and take things a bit easier. Another thing that I consider to be a bonus is learning how to build from light to dark marks. You know, when you're starting with your loose shape breakdowns, and then you build up, you choose the lines you like the best, you make them darker, and eventually you lead into your darks with the bold line art that really stands out, and maybe you go in and paint some of those lines in, and then you go in with more ink and make the heaviest lines darker, and you can really play with it. And I love seeing artwork where you can see the history, you can see down to the very base layer, and it almost looks 3D in a way. I just love seeing all those layers in a piece without it being erased. It makes me so sad when I'm watching an artist draw, and when the inking is done, the artist erased all of the sketch lines. I'm like, no, it looks so good with those lines. Like, I really like artwork where the sketch is incorporated into the final piece. I've been trying to do more of that this year. If I haven't emphasized it enough already, all of these things together really help improve drawing from life skills. And I mean, like, when you're sitting out in public and you see somebody who's really cool, like, I don't know if you've ever seen somebody dressed really, really neat, like, wow, that person just looks amazing, like a character design in person, in the flesh, and you just get to appreciate it, and you want to draw that person, and you have maybe 2 minutes before that person's gone, if you're lucky, and you just pull out your sketchbook. You can sketch somebody. If you've been practicing, you can get those basic shapes down, the bald round head, the pointy diamond triangle beard, whatever. I've drawn somebody before who I thought was really cool at a tea shop. Anyways, it's easier, it's faster, you don't have to think, you don't have to take as long. You can just put the shapes down and fill in the features that stand out the most to you, capture what you're seeing that you thought was so cool. Those are the things you're going to draw first, those are the details you're going to bring out and put emphasis on. And the more you practice it, the easier and faster and better it will be. I hope that somebody who watches this will decide to pick up a pen and designate a sketchbook to only using a pen, no pencils allowed. I haven't used a pencil in like 3 years, honestly. It's been a long time and I have zero regrets. I love using pens, and I feel like it's improved my art so much. And if you haven't played Sky, Children of the Light, you definitely should, because it's a really wholesome game and great inspiration for art. It's just beautiful, gorgeous, and just really, really sweet. I definitely recommend checking that out. You can play it on your phone or on iPad or on your Switch. Anyways, thanks for stopping by. I hope you'll come again. Goodbye.